So WrestleMania has come and gone, and now we turn our attention towards the future. WWE 2K22, finally a new game to play Universe Mode on. And the purpose of this video, very simple. I'm going to talk about what we're going to do heading in to WWE 2K22, how things are going to change up a little bit from 2K19, and what you can expect from me heading into this new series with this new era of game on its way. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to get across, and it's going to be the tagline really of the way that things are going to be done on 2K22, is that things are going to change. I'm going with the tagline pretty much for this era of game, however long it lasts, 1 game, 2 game, whatever it is, we don't really know yet, of less is more. And I know that sounds a little bit vague at first, but allow me to explain what I mean by that. Basically, when I moved to 2K19, I moved back to 2K19 rather with mods on the PC, I was putting a lot more effort into how episodes were made, a lot more work was going into them, a lot more hours was being spent, a lot more fine-tuning essentially to get these better angles, to get things to flow a little bit better, to really just make as good of a video as I could. But the downside to that, as you can tell from those of you who have been around really since pretty much the Rumble, is the quantity spiraled down. Yes, the quality went shooting up, but the quantity was nowhere to be seen. It was a video every month essentially it turned into, especially around WrestleMania season. With WrestleMania, I was forcing myself to make the best videos that I could because I knew I had to essentially, because it was the build to the biggest videos that I was ever going to do pretty much. It really showed me that that's not the way that I want to do things. I don't want to try and make the best video that I can every single time I load up the game. Quantity over quality for a change. You know, I had a really good time doing quality over quantity. I think WrestleMania itself surged ahead, and that's why Night 1 is now my most viewed video I've ever put out, because I put quality over the quantity. But now I want to take a step back from that. So, to those of you who subscribed maybe thinking that WrestleMania is going to be how every video is going to go, that's completely not the case with how things are going to be in 2K22. I want to dial it back a little bit. I want to do less to make more. I want to make less quality to make more videos, because making 3-4 videos every, 6 to 8 weeks just is not going to cut it for me. That's not the way I want to do things. I want to be not back to the way I was. For the long-term subscribers who remember me doing 4 videos a week, that's never coming back. I'm never going to do that. I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the mental capacity to do it, and I would have to really dial back on the content that I'm putting out now and make it as rubbish as it used to be, essentially. But I want to put out more, while also not losing what made people attracted to the channel. You know, the use of the highlight reel, the good stories being told, the fun matches, the good storylines, etc, etc. I want to keep them there, but I don't want to be, making every pay-per-view feel like a WrestleMania build. So that's what I mean by less is more. Less of what you know me for, essentially, but it's still gonna be there, just in not as vast not a vast quality as you have been expecting. But that allows me to work on the quantity side of things. I want to be, putting out 2 weeks of Universe a month would be the ideal goal. 6 episodes a month would be the ideal goal, or 4 episodes a month. Whatever I can do, whatever I can manage within my schedule would be ideal, really, for 2K22. And I know that the way I do things now, that's not going to happen. That's just flat out not going to happen. Allow me to say sort of how those changes are going to change. I'm going to start off with the big one. Brand pay-per-views are over. Brand exclusive pay-per-views are done. There will no longer be a brand exclusive pay-per-view every week. I am going back to 1 pay-per-view shared between 3 brands. Is that going to make things a little bit harder for me? Probably, but it will also make weekly shows more entertaining. Whereas every weekly show usually is just build until the brand pay-per-view comes along. Now, you could see a storyline ending on a regular episode of ECW. You could see a title match that is not going to be on the pay-per-view happening on the episode of ECW. You could see a title change as a result of that on an ECW. That allows then the pay-per-views to be jammed full of these big matches, both title and non-title. It allows me to put out matches on the pay-per-view that are going to keep you invested, and not sort of 7 matches where you could argue that 2 of them should just be on a regular episode of Raw, as opposed to on, say, a pay-per-view like Judgment Day, just because I got to stretch it out to make 7 matches on the pay-per-view. Now I can have 7 matches on the pay-per-view. Maybe a pre-show as well. I'm a little bit going back and forth on that idea. I might put out a poll asking you guys about that, just to be able to make those 7 matches feel really good and feel like they belong on the pay-per-view and make you guys want to stick around and watch them as well. Number 2, 3 matches a show. That's going to be final. 4 matches if I'm going to do a squash match. 3 matches is going to be what I'm aiming for right now. Because, and this is sort of touching upon what Murphs was on about in his video about Universe Mode ending, people just don't watch nowadays, and I understand that, and I'm completely okay with it. And in a way, if I know people are going to watch 8 minutes of my video, why am I going to make an hour-long video when I could do 45 minutes, and people can watch 8 minutes of 45 minutes instead of 8 minutes of an hour? That's better for me, that's better for you guys, and that's better for YouTube as well, for the algorithm. You know, it's a higher viewer percentage rate. People are going to be more likely to get recommended the video because it's 8 minutes of 45 is a much higher percentage than 8 minutes of an hour. On top of that, I just said about the 45 minutes, I'm aiming for every episode of Universe to be in and around the 45-minute range, at max 50 minutes for an episode of Universe, at minimum 35 minutes. It could change depending on what happens on the show, depending on what I want to do on that show. You could get a really short show, you could get a slightly longer show, but the average I'm aiming for is 45 minutes, no more than that, because that's just the way that I want to make content right now. I want to be a little bit more speedier with things. I want to get back to getting episodes done in a day or 2. I don't want to waste time finding these really intricate angles that I was doing at stuff like WrestleMania or on episodes of Raw and SmackDown when I know people are just going to not watch it, or they're just going to ask when the next show is. I just want to make that next show instead. I want to get back to people just constantly being able to digest new content every 5 to 10 days or so with an episode of Universe. That's the way that I want to do things now. I want to be a little bit more speedier, and I know in order to do that, things got to be changed. Like brand pay-per-views, they've got to go. I'm not wasting that much time every 2 weeks of Universe, so essentially, say every 2 months or whatever, busting my balls to make a pay-per-view, because it's just going to drain me mentally, and it's going to mean that I'm going to get less videos out. Does it mean I could be sacrificing more views? You know, a pay-per-view could do, say, 20, 25,000 views? Absolutely. But it makes the other pay-per-views more special, meaning that with less pay-per-views, there's going to be more people wanting to watch those pay-per-views because they're happening less often, so they could probably easily, you know, more easily hit, say, a 20K mark. And on top of that, it means I can get weekly shows out quicker for you all as well. It means we can advance storylines quicker. It means we can get new people into the series. It means we can get big title matches happening sooner. It just means that, again, less is more. In doing less, I can get more out for you guys. That is the main gist that I want to get across. And finally, I touched upon this idea a number of months ago with you guys, because it sort of dawned on me that, you know, if I'm going to be doing this dialing things back technique, then I still want to be able to do some fun matches here and there. Once a week, an in-game week of Universe, I'm going to be doing a little fun match on 2K22. I'm going to be doing it in the NXT 2.0 arena. So it's going to kind of be like NXT is back, but it's not really. It's going to be one match a week between 2 guys from or 2 girls rather, you know, whoever it may be, or tag team, whatever it may be, from 2 of the 3 brands. They're just going to lock up and have a fun match. It's going to be about 10 minutes long, and that's going to happen once every in-game week, so about once every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how long it takes me to get these videos out. That's just generally what I want to get across here, is I want to just dial things back a little bit, because WrestleMania was such, I don't want to say exhausting, but it was a tough process. It was a lot to do. There was a lot to get right, and as a result, it took so long to get there. I don't want to take a long time to get to the next pay-per-view. I want to be at the next pay-per-view not as quickly as I possibly can be, because that means I'm making even worse content, but I want to be there on a level which is good enough. I want to be there on a level which is at a right point, essentially. You know, I want to get there having built a really good show. Could I have built it better? Yeah, but I've built it well enough, and that people are going to be interested enough, and there's going to be enough content coming up for people to stay interested in what is going on in the series. And a main reason why I want to attest that right now, I was kind of not planning on doing this, but it's going to happen, is because since the last patch that came out in 2K22, I am having major problems with highlight reel. I'm going to just brush upon this really quickly. I know people on consoles are not having this problem, and I know a lot of guys are not having this problem. I seem to be in the minority with this, but my highlight reel is taking 40, 50, sometimes even a minute to load up, even if I've just recorded 5 seconds of it. And I mean, this is consistent. It doesn't matter if I use in-game characters, a custom arena, custom characters, custom titles. It doesn't matter. It always takes this long to load. And as a result of that, of course, I'm going to want to put not less effort, but of course I'm going to want to strain myself less if it means I'm standing around, or sitting around rather, for a minute at a time to get into highlight reel. Yes, I'm going to want to dial things back, because to go back to that B word that I don't like to use, I'd get burned out and then I'd want to stop. I know if I went through another year of making WrestleMania quality videos, I'm going to get burned out and I'd probably stop. I've got to work with this game this year, and the best way to do it is to not try and make as great videos as I was, and as good as WrestleMania was. It's not to keep trying to make that, or force myself to make that in 2K22. It's to work with what I got, dial things back a little bit, and just get back on top of my game. Get back to being a name that is known for making good, consistent videos. And that, in order for that to happen, again, the quality of a WrestleMania or the shows leading up to WrestleMania have to go by the wayside. Does that mean that I'm going to go back to the way I used to do things? Absolutely not. Is it going to be an integration of both in a way, though? Yeah, probably. So, with that being said, I think I've brushed upon everything that I really wanted to brush upon. So, just to clarify, brand pay-per-views, gone. 3 matches a show, 45-minute episodes. Pay-per-views will pretty much be staying the same. 7 matches a pay-per-view. About 2 hours will probably be the max that I aim for in a pay-per-view in terms of the length of it. Other than that, yeah, I think that's about everything. If there's anything that I forget, I may put it down in the comments. If there's any questions that you guys want to ask me in regards to the changes that are coming, please let me know and I'll try and answer them to the best of my abilities. That just about does it. WrestleMania is gone. Let's bring in 2K22 and I will see you guys, and I do mean this, very, very soon for the draft. Let's get 2K22 underway. Finally. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, guys. And ta-ra.